What's up, YouTube? George is Silver Hunter back, and today we're embarking on a $500 customer wrapped change hunt. In the back there, we have $390 worth of customer wrapped quarters, and I'm interested to get into these wraps that are red and or taped. I've always found, or at least I always had it in the back of my head, that if they're taped, they're going to be something special, but that doesn't always prove out. Super excited to get into the $60 worth of nickels because we have so many different wraps. These came from two different banks, and I've never actually seen these purple $2 wraps before, so really excited to jump into those. And we're rounding it off with a $50 dime hunt. So with that said, let's jump into these coins, and hopefully we find some cool stuff. All right, well, we got all this stuff pushed back a little bit, and the first thing we're going to hunt is these dimes, simply because there's not that much to look for. We're pretty much going to edge hunt these for silver. And for those of you new to coin roll hunting, I do have a document in the description down below all of my coin roll hunt videos that talks about all the various things we're looking for, all the main dates and years of interesting coins that you might be searching for, and most importantly, it tells you what years are in fact silver. So for our dimes, we are looking for anything 1964 and older, and just like in our half dollars, if you've ever seen a half dollar hunt, that silver is going to be a nice gray or silver line, and it's going to jump right out at you. Now, I will kind of push through those after we do these roll openings off camera and see if I have any proofs or anything crazy in there, but I will not be hunting these dimes for anything else, like the 1996 W and things like that. They're just so few and far between, and dimes hurt my eyes, so I'm mainly looking through these for silver. Let's see here, we got one ugly one, and I can't read the date. I do have a microscope off here to the side, and that's where I just set this down. That is a 1974. So if you are going to hunt dimes or pennies, I do highly recommend you use some sort of microscope or magnification device. I have the tools that I recommend also in the description of all my coin roll hunts, and they are Amazon links. So anytime you purchase anything based on those links, I get a small commission, and it is greatly appreciated. And we may have come across our first silver dime. I have one really chewed up coin in here. I was going to call that out. That looks like that's been run over by a truck a couple of times, but the main thing that drew my eye is right there. That is going to be, hopefully, a nice piece of silver, and it is. Let's see here. Do we have a mint mark on the back? We do. We have a Denver mint mark, and we have a 1961 dime from Denver. So this is 90% silver. I don't recall how much these are going for right now in melt, probably like around $2. I'll put the current melt value up on the screen for these things. And constitutional silver, or junk silver as it's often called, does come with quite a premium right now with the quote-unquote silver shortage going on. So super excited to find some silver in my dimes. I started out going through boxes at the beginning of the year and found very, very little. And my last couple of customer roll hunts, I've done pretty well and at least found one. So that is really exciting. This also means some customer wrapping their rolls just stuffed that right in there and gave away money. So it is what it is. Their misfortune, I guess, is my fortune. So let's see here. I also often get the question of how do I get these rolls, or how do I come across these rolls with silver in them, like I have some sort of magic wand. The reality is I just go into the bank. Sorry, I'm struggling here. Let me just do this half. I just go into the bank and I ask for, nickels, dimes, quarters, customer wrap stuff, whatever they can spare. And if they're willing to sell me coins, I buy them. And if they don't, I don't. And it's a luck of the draw. I do think finding silver in customer wrapped or bank wrapped rolls is regional, and it is seasonal, as I watch a lot of other YouTubers, and their silver sort of ebbs and flows as well, just like mine does here in the metro Atlanta area. So there is no magic formula. It is just keep on hunting. So, all right, I didn't see anything else in there. Sorry that roll took so long. And we will definitely speed things along for the nickels and the quarters. I will simply bring you guys in for the fines. But because these dimes can typically go pretty fast, I do like just showing you guys the process here. All right, we got 5 rolls left. So 1 silver dime out of $50 worth of dimes is really, really good and really, really lucky. I did do 4 whole $250 boxes at the beginning of the year and found 0 silver, so it does happen. Happens all the time, as a matter of fact. Okay, nothing there. The other nice thing, a little tip and trick for you coin roll hunters or aspiring coin roll hunters, or maybe you want to give it a try. The other nice thing about starting with customer wrapped coins is you have the wraps to restuff your coins into. If you use bank wrapped, they're much harder to open, politely or easily and get the coins back into. Whereas customer wrapped, as long as you're not tearing the wrapper when you get them open, it's really easy to stuff them right back inside. Now, I do have a Royal Sovereign coin sorter, so you see me making a big mess here off to the left. And for me, I just dump that whole pile in my coin sorter, and it does nice stacks of 50 for me. And I'll re-roll all this stuff in a hurry. So it was just a black 1995. I wanted to make sure it wasn't like a badly tarnished silver dime. Okay, we got 2 rolls left, and then things I promise you will speed up from here. Okay, not seeing anything in there. And our last bit of dimes. Then I'll go through this and I will bring you guys in. We'll do a quick intro for the nickels and we'll get into that hunt. Okay, nothing there. And I may have lost my silver dime and all that mess, so I'm going to have to find it again. But anyway, that's the dimes. I'm going to clean this up and we'll get right into the nickels. All right, apologies. I know I said we'd get right into the nickels, but I was just swiping these across because I said I would sort through them and look, not sort, but look very quickly for proofs. I don't know if this came across on camera, but as I swiped across, this guy popped right out, and sure enough, we have a 1986 San Francisco clad proof dime. It's very, very pretty. That looks like that popped right out of the mint set. So that's actually 2 finds. And just to show you, when I say go through them, I'm not doing anything fancy. I'm literally just kind of swiping through here. And if anything super shiny like this one with that big mirror finish jumps out at me, that's really what I'm looking for. Not really paying attention to much else. Okay. On to the nickels. As a quick reminder, I am working on my Jefferson nickel book that goes from 1938 actually to like 2018 or 2020 or something like that. I will be working on filling in the handful of holes I still have in this book, as well as my Buffalo nickel. So if we find anything interesting and it can be a book filler or an upgrade, I'll be sure to bring you guys in. And this video will also be attached to my playlist for my Hunt and Fill series for my nickels and my quarters. But I did want to bring you guys in just to open one of these purple rolls live, just simply because, I've just never seen this roll type, and I have no idea what's going to be in it. I've seen the blue ones, I've seen the pink ones, I've seen just about everything up here, but I have not seen these purple ones. So I'm hoping maybe they're a bit older, but judging based on what I see that just came out, I'm not thinking so. So these appear to be just regular nickels. Don't see any war nickels. Don't see any buffaloes. I will be going through these, checking for years and dates, and anything from 1959 and earlier will be considered a find, and obviously with special attention on our war nickels from 1942 to 1945, and any of our buffaloes or V nickels or anything like that that we come across. So I'll bring you in as soon as we find something interesting. So just sorting through that very first purple roll that we opened on camera, and we have our first find of the hunt. It is a 1959. Looks like a Denver. Not in great shape, but it's a find. So we're 6 rolls in, still in those purple rolls, and we've come across our next find. It is a 1958. Let's check it out here together. 1958 Denver. I think this one does have like a over mint mark or an inverse mint mark. I'll check it out, and if we have it, I'll bring you back in. So we're on roll 8. We have our next find. We've got, let me back out there a little bit. It is our first 40s nickel, a 1940. Looks like a Philadelphia. So I just got into one of the rolls. This was the only roll that looked like this that was taped. And as I started pouring them out, everything kind of is looking old, and I see a 1941 here that just sort of spilled out of the top. So this may be a crazy roll. If there's tons of finds in it, I may just pull them all and bring you guys in all at once. This 41's obviously got some sort of weird rolling error on it. You can see there's a bunch of smudging there in the middle. Maybe got caught in a roller or something. But we do have a 1941 for the board. And like I said, if there's like 15 finds in here, I'll just pull them all out and we'll summarize them all at once. Well, the roll wasn't too crazy. I think like the oldest nickel in here was like a 1980. But we did end up with two 1959 Denvers. We did have a 1954, pretty chewed up, a 1954 Denver in that roll. And a 40s. We had a 1947, looks like a Philly in that roll. This one looks a little funny on the back. Looks like we might have maybe some kind of lamination break or post-mint damage on it. But we're going to put all these on the board as a find. So that with the 1941 means we had 5 finds in that one roll. Pretty cool. So the very next roll in the same paper, now it wasn't taped, but again, we had lots of old nickels, like I want to say, again, like 1988 or 1990 might have been the oldest nickel. But we did get 2 1958 Phillies out of that last roll. So these may have come from some kind of collector, or maybe somebody that had a big jar in their house and finally decided to put them all in wraps and take them back to the bank, because I've just had lots of old nickels. I haven't seen too many of the new designs, which is interesting, but definitely starting to get loaded down on my 50, well, will be here on my 58s and 59s, and I've got a couple of nicer things that may upgrade my books. Well, we are on our next to last roll, and we've got our next find. It's something new. It's in the 40s. We have a 1949, looks like a Philly. So we'll put that on the board, and along the way, I haven't brought you guys in for all of them, but we found a bunch of 1959s. I think we did find maybe like one other 1940 I didn't bring you guys in for, but it's actually been a pretty slow nickel hunt. So we're about to wrap up the next to the last roll, get into the last one. We'll do a quick wrap up and then move on to these quarters. So we're into our last roll, and we have our first foreign of the hunt. It is a 2000 Canadian nickel. Not too bad a shape either. We'll put it on the board as a find. Not worth much here in the US, but shouldn't be in my roll of nickels. So we have reached the end of our nickels, and I've left everything up here on the table that we're going to keep. So let's just go through it really quickly. We've got that 2000 Canadian nickel that I showed you just a second ago. We'll hang on to that. I hang on to all my Canadian change. Just throw it in a cup marked Canada. We got a couple of 1940s. We got a 1941, 1947. We've got a 1949, a 54. And I'm not calling out all the mint marks, but none of these are going in the book because none of them were upgrades, and I've already filled all of the holes for these years. But we had 3 1958s and 5 1959s. I did get one upgrade of all the coins I set aside. This 1990 Philadelphia is just a lot nicer than the one that I have in my book. So I'll punch that down off camera, and I think this one was pretty close to full steps as well, if not full steps. So it'll be a nice addition to the book, or a nice upgrade to the book. Something I will mention, I've heard of more and more people starting to hang on to a lot of their older nickels, and even more some of the more current ones, because there's actually more copper in a nickel than there is in copper pennies. So there are people that are kind of copper hoarders, and this is what they're starting to move on to, because you can pick up almost any year and they're full of copper rather than having to sort all of those pennies. But anyway, I'm not recommending you do that. I've just heard more and more people doing it. It's not something that I'm doing, other than I do hang on to my 40s and 50s. I sent them all back to the bank a few years ago because I just had so many, and now I've started to amass them again. But anyway, that works for me, and I'm going to slot this in the book, and we're going to move on to these quarters. Okay, well, I'm going to open up some of these quarters here on camera, and I'm going to focus on these red wrappered rolls, because just for some reason when I get these solid ones, they look older, and I have these visions they're going to be full of silver. And I've got, looks like 6 rolls that are taped, so I wanted to just do one of these on camera with you guys in case it is a crazy roll of quarters. And I am going to have to destroy this wrap getting this tape off, but that's okay. I got lots of wraps. So definitely not going to be loaded with silver. Let's see here. I don't see any silver. I do see a couple of nice looking coins, but we'll go through that. Looking for our typical varieties, W's, all that kind of good stuff. And I am filling out some quarter books, so I'll grab that list and make sure that we do pull anything that happens to be on that list. And let's do one more. This is one of the more traditional current quarter wraps, and this is also taped. Let's go ahead and get into one of these just to see what we're looking at. And this also looks like it's going to be current quarters. Oopsie. Making a mess. Let's take a quick look to see if we have any silver. And what is that? Oh, it's Canadian. I got all excited. We had some silver, a silver line there, but it's just a Canadian quarter. 1978. I don't think that's old enough to be silver in Canadian currency, but I got real excited there for just a moment. That was pretty cool. So maybe we'll call that our first quarter find of the hunt. That is pretty neat. All right, well, I'm going to go off camera. I will pull you guys in as we find stuff, and I'm sure we'll find some die chips and some interesting errors along the way. So I went ahead and opened up all of the rolls that had tape on them, and I'm down to my last 3, and it's always a happy day when you're hunting quarters when you come across what I'm about to show you, and that is a really nice looking West Point minted quarter. Now these, even today, even though the price has come way, way down, are worth more than a silver quarter. Even the worst of these is typically commanding $9 to $10 on eBay, depending on which W quarter it is and the condition of it. And this one's actually in fairly decent condition for being circulated. Obviously minted in West Point. The 2019s, there's no watermark over here, or no privy. The 2020s, there's a V75 privy. So we know without looking at the back, this is a 2019. And we have the River of No Return. If I recall, this is one of the more highly sought after ones, if I'm recalling correctly. We will get into the actual eBay sales value of this by the end of the video. But for now, super excited to have me a W quarter this early in the quarter hunt. We have a lot more rolls to go, so hopefully we'll find more of these. We're 9 rolls in. That means I've got $300 worth left on the table, and I've actually got one coin pulled, and it's already under the scope. It is the 2015 Homestead, and zoom in here on it. It's just a little die chip error. I usually call this one the snow on the window error. Typically, you see that snow kind of up here on the roof. It's just die chips that line. There's actually a little piece of one right there that line the outline of the roof. They're not worth all that much money unless the die chips are really, really big. But I did find this one along the way, so I thought I would point it out. And there was a really minor one that I can just show you here under the camera, and I didn't even bother pulling you in, but since you're here, it's the little die chip on the nose of the new 2022 women's quarters. I found this on a number of the women's quarters, and this one's really, really small. Again, on eBay, if you're looking to make money on these, you need much bigger die chips than this, so I'll probably throw this back. I just wanted you guys to see it, and this one is on the Anime Wong. So we're something like 13, 14 rolls in, something like that. We've got $250 left on the table, if that helps or if it matters. But I have found a new die chip error that I have never found before. I have found it on eBay, though. And if you look very carefully here above the wing, you'll see we've got a great big die chip there. Let me put this under the scope so you can see it just sort of under the scope. You can see that big old hunk of metal. It's not supposed to be there. I did look up on eBay, and this particular error with the die chip on the airplane's wing, they're going everywhere for like $1 with $5 shipping to as high as like 14, 15, 16 bucks. So I'll throw a comp on the screen, a comp or two. So this could be a relatively valuable one to look out for, but who knows? Maybe it's only worth $1. So we're about halfway through the very next roll, and this is another pretty common error that I find on a lot of my quarter hunts. It is the In God We Rust error. You can actually see it pretty well just with the camera. You can barely make out that T, and it's where there's just been a little bit of grease in the die. So when this coin gets struck, it looks like it reads In God We Rust. And this is the 2005 canvas. It is the 2005 Kansas quarter, typically found in the Philadelphia. I don't think I've ever found one with the Denver mint mark. And this one, compared to a lot of my other ones, is actually in fairly decent condition. We've got a little bit of dirt on here, but still pretty good detail. A lot of my Kansas quarters usually get here pretty beat up, so I'll definitely hang on to this one. I just started dumping out the next 5 rolls. This would have been rolls like 20 down to roll 16. And I got them laid out, and I started to pick them up just to straighten them out because I like doing them in rows on here. And the ender, look at it right there, came up this way. It was a W. I still haven't seen the reverse. Like I said earlier in the video, we know it's a 2019. Again, in pretty good shape. And we have a San Antonio Missions. That is awesome. That makes it 2 W's on the hunt. So we just dumped out, I think it's number 10 of our last 10 rolls. I've been kind of opening them 5 at a time. And we've got another sneaky looking, silvery looking quarter in there. But the reading doesn't look right. So I'm going to go on record as saying I think this is going to be another Canadian quarter. And I am right. It's from 2008. So that makes 2 Canadian quarters on the hunt. Well, that wraps up our quarters, and I have all of our finds on the mat, but I'm going to spend a few minutes here on the quarters, and then we're going to get in and look at my books real quick. We did end up with a couple of Canadian quarters. They didn't really fool us, but if you're new to coin roll hunting, you're going to find these from time to time, and you're going to see that silver edge and get really excited. But before long, you'll be able to tell these Canadian edges from U.S. quarter edges. A little secret for you is if you do have some rare earth magnets, most Canadian money is magnetic. So sometimes you can just run that across the roll. And if it sticks, you probably have some Canadian money. The real big finds of the quarters were these 2 W's. W's are really starting to dry up. And I know a lot of people are having to go sometimes 3, 4, 5 boxes or more to find one. This is my 2nd quarter hunt in a row where I've managed to get 2. This time we got the San Antonio Missions and the River of No Return, both 2019 W's, and I will go ahead and put the current values of those up here on the screen so you can kind of see what they're going for on eBay today, and you'll see they're worth more than a silver quarter for the most part. So these W's, you should always be on the lookout for them. And especially if they're in pretty good shape like this top one I have up here. We did have a new error that, at least new to me, this big die chip up here on the wing of the airplane. And I actually managed to find a second one. I didn't bring you in for both of them. But I've got 2. If I didn't already in the video, I'll go ahead and throw some comps up for what this is going on. I think I did mention it in an earlier clip, like as low as $1 or $2. And I think if I recall, some people were getting 14, 15 bucks for them. So that's pretty cool. We had the little die chip on the nose. These are fairly common, and I've never tried selling these, but I've got a few of them that I've hung on to. And the last one is this snow on the window. So this is just a die chip up on the window. And I don't find a whole lot of those either. I haven't tried to sell them, but I'll see if I can find some comps on eBay, and we'll put them over here on the right-hand side of the screen. As for the rest of the finds, we had some book fillers. Got a 1977D. It has seen better days. It's a little bit ugly. I'll want to find an upgrade, but it's going to complete my book. What did we have here? This was that 2005. I meant to have that over here. This is that In God We Rust error. So let's put this down here. And those can be pretty lucrative if you can find them in the right condition. And like I said, I'll put some comps right over here. Let's see here. What else do we have? We have a book filler here, the 2009 Guam Philly. That's going to go in the book. And we have the 2014, I think this is the Colorado Denver minted, so that's going to fill a hole in my book as well. We did end up with 367 Philadelphia minted bicentennials. No errors on this one to look for, but I hang on to all the really nice ones and make rolls out of them and occasionally sell them. This Denver also looked really nice. No DDO on it, and if you are hunting these things or collecting them, look for strong doubling up here in the word Liberty. If you have one of those can be pretty darn valuable. I pulled a couple of things that are going to be upgrades, and I've actually already pulled them out of my book just to make it easier to slot them. These were the old coins. These were the new ones that I found on this hunt. So this 2002 Indiana, this 2003 Illinois, and this 2017 Iowa are all going to be upgrades in my books. So I have a cheat sheet, and I'll show you guys the books after I'm done filling them in, but for this hunt, we can cross some stuff off. We found this 1977. This California we actually already had. I don't know why that was on my list. We had this 2009 Guam. We got the 2014 Colorado. And I think that's it. That's all the rest of the coins that we're looking for in this Series 2 set of books. So let me get the camera set up and I'll show you the books with everything punched down because they're looking pretty good. But before I do that, I'm not going to go through the nickels again because we already did. But my other really favorite finds of this hunt were this 1961 Denver 90% dime. And this pretty cool, I don't find a lot of proof dimes. This 1986 San Francisco clad proof dime was pretty cool. I'll flip that up and hang on to it. So let's have a look at the books and we'll get to the end of the video. All right, well, here we go. Let's see here. We'll start with the oldest book, which I think was already complete. That was this one, just to show it off for you. Not the best looking quarters, and actually it's not complete. We needed that 1977D. So other than that, everything else is filled in. So let's go ahead and get that punched down. We could call this book done, but like I said, I'd definitely like to get an upgrade for that. This 1970 needs an upgrade. So I may make a list of upgrades for my next hunt. This 1988 book, which is a short book, it's only about a page and a half. This guy is all done. Nothing over here on the third page to worry about, just a bunch of empty holes. So that's got all filled up. And let's go ahead and punch down some stuff in this guy. This is the Deluxe State Quarter Album, and I really like this one because it does all of the Phillies and Denvers by year in the same place. And let's see here, the 2002 Indiana. This was one that was a upgrade. I had already pulled it. This 2003 Illinois was also an upgrade. I had just popped that out prior to my wrap-up to make it easier to punch down. Now this 2009 Guam is a whole filler. I didn't have that one. I thought I had it in a previous hunt and I didn't, and this one looks pretty darn good. A lot better than its Denver counterpart. I just need two more coins to finish this one. This Virgin Islands from Denver and this North Marietta Islands from Philadelphia. That'll wrap that book up once we find it. And then this National Park Quarter book is also great. This one, it's cool because they separate Philly from Denver. We do have one Philly from 2010 we're looking for, but we've got at least one hole filler and one upgrade. So this 2014 was the hole filler. Hopefully you guys can see that okay. Might be a little crooked and I apologize for that. And then this Iowa was definitely an upgrade, and let me just double check. It is a Denver, so we're in the right place. Goes on this side, and other than this book, we are just missing that one coin from the Philadelphia side, and it looks like about 8 coins from the Denver side. So books are coming along. So let me go ahead and put my favorite coins of the hunt back up here on the board. I hope you guys really enjoyed this one. I know I enjoy these customer roll hunts because you never know what you're going to get, and it's an opportunity to get this stuff before it gets back to Brinks and Loomis and String and Son and all them for them to re-roll them and possibly damage them more. So customer roll hunts are a lot of fun, and a lot of times you can get customer rolls even if you're not a member of the bank. You could just walk in and ask for 5 or 10 rolls, and they'll give them to you 9 times out of 10. So don't forget that if you're having trouble getting bank wrapped rolls. So I enjoy these. I try to do them as much as I can, and I try to balance them a little bit with my bank wrapped rolls, or at least I'm trying to do a better job of balancing them. So if you did like this video, let me know. Drop on down below. Click that like button. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. If you're new to the channel and you like coin roll hunts, you like gold and silver videos, make sure you do drop on down below. Click that subscribe button, and then click that bell so you get notified each and every time I release a new video. So with that said, I'm going to sign off. You guys take care. And I look forward to seeing you in the next one.